freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your mega preview pod for this week's Genesis Invitational, Live Golf Adelaide, and anything else that we might stumble into over the course of the next 45 to 60 minutes. Joining me to discuss all of those things, Greg DuCharme is here. Hello, Greg.
Gentlemen, good evening. I'm very excited to talk about this week. A lot of good storylines we got. Great tournament on a major championship type venue. This is going to be a good one.
A Siggy at a major championship venue. Mark Immelman is here. Mark, good day.
Yeah, how's it? I notice you are strategically wearing the Philadelphia cap there. Yeah, baby.
Yes, there it is. Go Birds, world champions.
Uh-huh. There you are.
Not too shabby.
What a game.
I was telling somebody this morning, I played the golf this morning, and the guy I play with knows I'm a Eagles fan. And I was telling him when they won in 2017, I was good for a while. You know, like it's like these are hard to win. I'm not greedy, but yeah, it's nice. It's nice. But I could have hung out for another 10 or 15 years. Greg is a Jets fan. You know that's
did you have money on it, Rick?
I did. I ended up taking the Eagles +1. Obviously did not need the one, but yeah, that was the route I ended up going.
You buying, baby.
All right. I love it. Patrick McDonald rounds out our crew for today. Patrick.
Tough Super Bowl for me. Got the coin toss wrong, and then the rest was just it was an uphill battle from there. Juju anytime didn't cash. So hopefully we get it back this week. Hopefully that guy in the chat who asked for first round leaders, we can get a little collab play going.
Well, I'll tell you what, Greg, you actually told us that the Chiefs were going to win the coin toss and defer. And then you texted us and said you're 1 for 1. I'd argue that's 2 for 2, my friend.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. I mean, the second one's kind of easy because I think whoever wins is going to defer.
Yeah, well,
right. But yeah, I guess you're right. 2 for 2. I'm selling myself short.
Yeah, don't sell yourself short. We've got a lot to get to. We're going to start with the Live Golf Boys, who are playing in Adelaide this week. But before we get there, Patrick, the pathway for Live Golf members to qualify for the 2025 Open has been officially formed. The leading golfer not already exempt in the top 5 of the Live Golf individual standings is going to get that spot in the field for Royal Portrush. So again, you've got to be in the top 5 of the Live Golf individual standings, and the first one who is not already in. So think John Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, Cam Smith, those guys are in. First guy who does not already have that qualification is going to get in. And this is essentially following suit for other major championships, or as the other major championships have, creating a more official pathway for those golfers to get into it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys talked about the US Open one last week.
I think so.
How they're doing top 3, not otherwise. May 19th. And then for 2026, they're doing the year-end individual and then another cutoff date. So potentially 2 guys could make it for the US Open. If I'm Live, I don't know if I'm super stoked about this. I know it's an official pathway, which is great for them. They've been trying to get something like this, but only one spot for someone that could turn into 0 spots based on how some of the top guys play. Like if it's Rahm, Brooks, Hatton, Bryson, and DJ, you're just out of luck because you're not inside the top 5. But I think it's great for them as a league, obviously. I can see them wanting more. I think that's just the natural reaction. Be like, why don't we just have 3 guaranteed spots? But having 2 of the major championships, making it official, I guess is a big deal. People are saying it's a huge deal, especially those in Europe. Maybe I'm just not seeing the fuller picture. I think it's a deal for sure. A huge deal. Maybe I'm not quite there, but the PGA obviously has the invitation process. Augusta National, they have the flexibility of sending invites like they did to Joaquin back-to-back years. And the Open and the USGA, I guess, just made it a bit more official.
What size deal is it, Greg? Big deal?
I think it's a big deal. Yeah.
Big deal.
Okay. And I'll tell you why. It lends credibility to the tour, right? I mean, previously, all of the Live guys that were in through other avenues. They were in from past performance in majors, which they got into through PGA Tour performance. They got in through World Golf Ranking points, which they got through PGA Tour performance, major performance, and performance on other tours, not live golf. I think that the special impact would be the other avenue. When you look at like Augusta National, they don't cite performance on live. They cite performance on other tours around the world, and I would kind of expect and kind of hope that the U.S. Open and the Open Championship or the RNA would kind of look at this through the lens of the official World Golf Rankings, right? Which there are reasons why this tour isn't legitimized in those ways. And I think we saw part of it last week. You're talking about for the Open Championship, 8 events. One of them is played under the lights. Now that when you have a tournament that's played under the lights, that's not an avenue to find who the best player is, in my opinion. We've seen under the lights golf in the showdown, in the match, finishing events in the match. There was a ladies European Tour event where they played 9 holes under the lights that lasted 3 years. It's been done before, but aside from the ladies European Tour event, it has not been done on real tours in the game, because it's not the best way to see who the best player is. So again, you got 54 holes. You have a kind of a closed shop. You got a lot of issues there. And when you have an Open, by definition, you're not excluding anybody. So both of these events, the U.S. Open and the Open, aren't excluding live players at all. But I don't think you have to take the step to recognize the performance of this tour that plays 54 holes, plays under the lights, and they do some things a little bit different, which is fine, but I don't think it's a great way to determine who should be in your field.
It's interesting. And Mark, I'm sensing the shift in the industry here as major championships start to make this official. And I want to be very clear. I'm not asking you to speak on behalf of any organization or anyone else. But I think the natural progression is the OWGR trying to figure something out for live golf, especially if there are going to be, well, I guess I should ask you this. Does it make it less likely or more likely that the OWGR does something official? Because I think originally OWGR was the pathway to major championships, but if the major championships have their own pathway, maybe now I've talked myself into the fact that the OWGR doesn't need to do anything official.
Well, I can't speak with any insight or authority to that. I'll say this. I've not looked because I heard about this and I was like, big deal, medium-sized deal, whatever. I'm like, interesting. And I'm sure you could help here with this, Rick. I would like to see, like with the Open or the US Open, what the other tours get in terms of spots in the field, because one spot is kind of measly. So I know it's a 54-hole league, and Greg makes a good point that it lends some credibility to live. But we've seen now that tours be available to letting live players play in their field if they earn their way in there. I don't think one spot is that big a deal. It's almost like an invitation. It's almost like a sponsor's invite. Not that you get those in majors. So I don't know. My big question is, all the rumblings and wherever we go now, we're hearing this stuff, is that we're very close to some sort of deal between the tour and the PIF, in which case this is all made a moot point. Well, maybe not. I don't know the parameters of the deal. So, but I just think it's kind of the Open throwing a bit of a bone. But I don't think like if it was 5 spots or whatever, I'd be like, okay, that's real now. But I'm certain the Japan Tour gets a spot. I would have to think the PGA Tour Australasia gets something. I'm sure the Sunshine Tour gets something. So it's just kind of looking at them going, okay, well, here's your bone. Send your best guy who's not otherwise exempt.
Here's your bone. Now, Patrick, it's a good week for Live Golf because they're playing in Adelaide this week. And I've got it on good authority from my Australian friends that the city is abuzz. And I will confirm that. When I was over there, these people are sport starved. They are golf starved. And this has become the de facto flagship event for Live. I would argue it has been their WM Phoenix Open, big, rowdy, raucous crowds, party halls, etc., etc. This will be by far the biggest turnout that they get.
Yes, and going back to that deal size, I will say it leans more towards a bigger deal when you're trying to recruit young players, I think, to Live Golf, being like, hey, you do have a potential pathway to play in these major championships.
You know what? Yes. And I do want to say this, but we're also hearing stuff, like you're reading the tea leaves and stuff, that a number of the players whose contracts are up here pretty soon, the stars, they like, okay, apart from a bunch of money, what have you done for me? There were all these big promises that Greg Norman made. Now what? No world ranking points. Yeah, we get one spot in the field, but I can think of a number of players like Lee Westwood and these sorts of guys who would be like salivating to play in the Open, but it's not like Westwood's on top of his game. So I'm keen to see how that whole lot of thing sort of shakes itself out, to your point.
Yeah, I'm keen to see how the owners react, right? Because like Liv's not going to miss out on Lee Westwood if he leaves. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. But he's a Majestics owner, right? How does that work with Poulter and Stenson and all of them? So I agree with the contract situation. Some conversations are going to be had. Some dirt's going to be dug out and revealed. But the ownership aspect of it, who knows what they're actually owning? Obviously the team, but like value-wise, who knows? Is an interesting wrinkle to see how people navigate. Because like someone like Hudson Swafford, who's already gone, or like if HV3's contract goes up, what is he going to do? It's people like that, the non-owners, I'm interested to see. As for Adelaide, Rick, I saw they have the Live Golf pop-ups there in the airport. City's a buzz, as you mentioned. Australians love their golf. I'm happy for them. I'm looking forward to the event. The Ripper GC won in a historic playoff last year over Mark's Stinger GC. The South African boys couldn't get it done over my Australian mates, Cam Smith and Mark Leishman. And I think I'm interested to see maybe some of those quieter big names. Like, does DJ still care? News of his contract with TaylorMade being up. Brooks Koepka a bad major season. Can he get some form rolling before the Masters? So it didn't happen in the first start there in Riyadh. But I think some of those guys who have contended in majors, like a Cam Smith too, definitely keep an eye on with the Masters coming around.
I want to circle back on something you said, Greg, about playing golf underneath lights not being really the best way to identify the best players. And I find that interesting because I hadn't thought of that. And I hadn't thought about the implications of that. I thought, I guess striking the balance between playing internationally, but being available to the U.S. audience is rarely done, or rarely done well, I guess I should say. Now, Australia is a little bit different because they're so far ahead that it's actually better. But like these events in parts of Asia, these events in Europe, it seems like Liv does want a little bit of, they want their cake and they want to eat it too, right? We want to be the international tour, but at the same time, we want to be live in acceptable time slots in the US.
Which is a very interesting thing. I wonder what that has to do with Fox, because if you're Fox Sports and you're looking to buy a product, it's in the US. How many times are they in the US? Like 6 or something?
I was going to say 5, but that could be right. 6 could be
right. You want to buy a product where you have an opportunity for viewership 5 or 6 times. Maybe add Mexico in there, 6 or 7. But it's a very small number. And I wonder what level of concern that brings Fox. And so do they make those kind of deals for TV? Yes, because you wouldn't play an event at night under the lights if it wasn't for TV. They play the match at night under the TV to get in a better TV slot because it's a made-for-TV event. It's not a made-for-competition event. And so I do think that's an inherent challenge that the model that Liv is trying to utilize faces. Can you drum up enough interest in Australia? You can for an in-person event. Right? It's clear this is a very successful event at the gate, right? People want to go to this in Australia. It seems to be the primary place where they want to do that. But what does that do for the rest of your business? We look at when it compares to other professional sports leagues and when it compares to the cash outlay that this league has cost in order to get started. So I do wonder about that. I think after the ratings came out about Riyadh, the first go around, people at Liv probably aren't feeling so great about that. I doubt they feel like that was a strong performance. Then this week we'll give them a little boost because everybody who's there is going to feel a little better. You're going to feel like this is great. And you probably didn't have that feeling last week. Also interesting, they said, whether this is true or not, they wanted to be in under the lights to be in the same time zone as they were the next week. Which I didn't hear that. I don't really understand that.
I also don't
okay.
agree. I
preemptive jet lag fighting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't look. We're just. It's almost in a way. I almost appreciate it, right? Hey, listen. Here on Live Golf, we don't believe in time zones.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that was for an audience of one. Greg DuCharme.
Yeah, that's right. That was just for me. We're gonna play at 3:30 Eastern time because that's the only time that exists. All right. If it's dark out, we're gonna play under the lights. So just get used to Eastern time. But it's a very strange thing. And Mark brought up the deal, which this connects to the exemption with the Open Championship. And this is kind of a long-term concern of mine. It sounds like from everything that I'm hearing, this deal is really between the PIF and the PGA Tour. Now, the PIF, of course, is involved with both, but it doesn't merge Live and the PGA Tour. And it sounds like they're both going to continue on. But the problem with that is, where does Live get their players from? So as a PGA Tour fan like I am, and I'm a fan of it for a lot of different reasons, largely because I think it's the most competitive tour in the world. And I enjoy watching it every week. I enjoy watching golf here in the U.S. because it fits my time zone. But so let's say a deal gets done and Live still exists. How does Live continue to get players? Right? Where do these players come from? And all the players that Live has, their avenue to create stars is to take stars from other tours. And so if I'm a Open Championship or USGA and have relationships with the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, that would concern me a little bit. We're going to give this a little, we're going to give this tour a little validation. Maybe that helps them hang around a little bit longer. And now in the future, when these contracts come up, are we going to see another wave of, are we going to see $900 million offers being thrown out to PGA Tour players? And I don't think that's a good thing for the game of golf as a whole. So those are kind of the long-term concerns that I have as well.
Yes. And Mark, you're going to get the last word on this, and good. You unmuted. I was going to check to see if you were going to unmute yourself. You did. Congratulations. Go ahead.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm so proud of myself for doing that for the first time in like the history of ever. But I just want to piggyback on what Greg said. I work out on the PGA Tour. You hear the conversations and stuff between people. But I think now that a lot of the players have gotten to watch what Live represents and what, not just the money, because these guys make a lot of money, but what the ancillary benefits are. They see the lack thereof. So I'm not so sure that Liv can pay enough money to attract some of these guys to go over there. I mean, we've already seen like Tiger turn down $1 billion or whatever it was, and Rory has told him, "Thank you very much, but no thanks." So I'm not so sure like how much is going to take to coerce a Scotty Scheffler over there or coerce a Xander Schauffele. I don't think so, because now Schauffele and Scheffler and all these guys are winning major championships and realizing, wait, man, this is kind of honestly a legacy thing. So I am keen to see, like, how do you if you live and these team managers, how do you restock if guys move along? Because it's not like DJ needs more money, and it doesn't look like DJ really cares, to be honest with you. I haven't asked him about it, so don't quote me. Are you getting where I'm going here? I just don't think I don't think they pay enough.
Yes. The route for them is for someone like, I'm just looking at the list, David Puig, to qualify through that one spot in the U.S. Open, win the U.S. Open, and that's how you create your own stars for Live Golf.
Here's
He's got to go win the U.S. Open.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm gonna need 90 minutes on this, but no, the pathway for Live is that team golf continues outside of Live. So basically, you have 6 to 8 weeks a year where Boston Common, Atlanta Drive, the Cliques, the Ironheads, teams from the DP World Tour all get together. There's this new entity, because continuing to put individuals into Live Golf, if this thing does get together, is not going to work. Go ahead, Greg. Last thing. I got to get us.
No. That's a very interesting idea, right? Kind of, because they're in the middle. It's like an individual thing. Do we really care? Like, is anybody sitting on the PGA Tour saying, geez, if, I'd go, but only if John Rahm asked me to play on his team? It's a very strange thing, because it's still very much about individuals, right? We want official world golf ranking points, individual. We want spots in major championships, individual events. It's an individual golf career. And it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of buzz on Ripper GC winning the championship on Live Golf. That's not. So I think that's an interesting idea. If they do merge, is there a team element that exists in the future? It's probably the best idea I've heard.
Well, we've been thinking about that day for a couple of years, and maybe we are getting closer. Maybe we are not to the potential merge, or at least partnership. We're going to turn our attention to Southern California. We are going to get you all fired up for this week's Genesis Invitational. We've got the bets coming up on the other side, but first we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
From sweet to elite to the final four.
We are back, and we are back, meaning we are headed back to Torrey Pines, this time the South Course for the Genesis Invitational. Of course, this event normally played at Riviera Country Club, but with the wildfires that have devastated the Los Angeles and Pacific Palisades this year, this event was moved to the South Course, where all 4 rounds will be played. Patrick, this is a signature event, meaning it is a small field, meaning it is a top heavy field. There is not a ton of crossover from golfers who played this event a couple of weeks ago to ones that are going to play it this time around. And of course, the most notable missing player, that right there is the hometown kid, Xander Schauffele himself.
Signature event with a cut. Let's not forget. Yep. I think everyone I bet on this event last year actually found a way to miss that cut. It was only I think it was only like 11 players or something. And
was it that many? Are you sure?
Justin Thomas, Matt Fitzpatrick, both on the card. Little different circumstances this week. Wet, cold, rainy. Might make the golf course play a little longer. Ben Griffin, TikTok sensation, the Lone Shark, already tweeted out a video of the rough looking nice and juicy. So looks like they tried to make it a little more difficult. I don't know if it will, just with how soft the golf course might be compared to the last time they were out there. But I think Mark probably has a better sense of what the golf course was and how it might be different this week.
As you get into that, Mark, first off, Ben Griffin, stick to playing golf. You don't do the content. I mean, come on. We have the content creation. We need something. We can't play golf. We need the content. Mark, Patrick is right. The forecast, not what you saw a couple of weeks ago, where the common refrain was, it's been 9 months since any measurable rain. Well, there is going to be measurable rain this week, at least a half an inch on Wednesday, probably another half to an inch on Thursday, meaning this golf course is going to play long. It's going to play wet. It's going to be potentially a little bit soggy. What do you see out of this?
Well, first, I do want to say this, and this is kudos to Genesis, that they are donating, I see here, $8 million in 100 tournament vehicles and cash contributions to the California wildfire relief. And when there was all the discussion and there were some early opinions by guys like Rick Gehman as to where the event was going. Yeah, remember, you were at the front of this whole thing, Rick.
I think I was.
You were. I mean, news breaking.
Hashtag good pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Hashtag good pick.
Yeah, so I was like, why don't we just give the money from all the players' funds and stuff to the charity and just cancel the weekend memorial in like a memoriam too? And I spoke with a few folks and they're like, no, Southern California needs this. All the Genesis people want to bring sport to the area. So I understand all the reasons. So again, kudos, $8 million is a lot of money. To the golf course, it doesn't need to play any longer. God, man, on a perfect day with no wind, that place is a handful. So I'm looking at a situation where it'll play longer. That rough with a little sunshine after the rain is going to grow even more. It's going to place a premium on putting the ball in the fairways. That Kikuyu fairway and rough, as you know, it's quite a dense grass. So unless it's playing really firm, the ball doesn't really run out very much. And then let's consider too those Poania greens, that if they get just a little damp and you get a field of how many players through there, it's not a full field, thankfully, but you
72.
get 72. So you get 70, well, how many guys aim point? Let's call it 20 guys aim point around the hole, and you got footprints and things everywhere on soft and soggy greens. It's going to be a disaster. So I'm saying right now that, gosh, if you get to 6 under, you may win. I honestly think so. Because look, in years past, if you look at the way this course is played in, when's it, February when we go there, late January or whatever it is?
Late January.
Yeah. Golly, if you get to double digits, you're winning, right? If you look at
yes, indeed. Now, I would like to offer a contrasting viewpoint of that, and I'm going to make Greg offer it because he offered it to me on Monday. Greg made the point to me, and I want to get your second thoughts on this, Greg, about the length not really getting that much worse, I suppose, but it's maybe a little bit of softer greens. We saw those guys really struggle on those firm, fast greens a couple of weeks ago. Maybe this rain helps a little bit more receptiveness.
I think some of those 3 putts and some of the chips that you see, and then Mark brings up a really good point about the footprints and the bumpiness around the hole. I do think that's true, but the speed of the green should be reduced considering the forecast. And I think that was the biggest challenge that the players had last week. Or last time we were at Torrey Pines for the farmers, right? When the wind was blowing the way that it was moving the ball on the greens. And we're going to get some wind again this week, but with slower greens, that should have a slightly less dramatic effect. And I don't think there will be quite as much fear factor in that. And then the other thing too is we are looking at some of these iron shots into these greens. Nick Faldo used to talk about this all the time at Torrey. He'd be like, and Mark will remember this. Well, I got, 178 to carry the bunker. I've got 183 flag, and I've got 192 long, but the ball's releasing 15 yards with this club. So I can't hit it. My options are chip from the back edge of the green, because it's going to go long if I hit it onto that tier, or putt up the ridge from 40 feet to the right or to the left. I think there'll be an opportunity to get the ball on the right shelf a little bit more this week, even if you're coming in with longer clubs.
Yeah, I can certainly agree with that. Just something to add to that, though. perennially, this golf course, if you look at numbers, is one of the hardest to putt from 5 feet.
Yes.
And that to me is the thing. Now, you may not be seeing balls bounding through greens. Who knows? It may firm up. I'm not sure what the wind forecast is, because to me, the X factor is more the wind in the rain, or is it just rain? But if you got greens that are a little softer and getting some traffic, and then you got greens that are tough to putt from close range anyway, you might not see hemorrhaging, but you're going to just see a number of bogeys. And those things add up quickly. And then you drive it in the rough a few times, and all of a sudden you're working really, really hard to shoot 71. So again, I mean, I can't see them shooting the grass off the place. I would take, if I was playing, I'd take 6 under right now and park off in the clubhouse and see what happens.
Oh,
I'm gonna write that down. We'll see what 6 under finishes on Sunday night. We'll see.
I'll be making a handsome check. I'll tell you.
Yeah. That's pretty close to top 10, I would think. I think 12 under is going to win. You could write that down too, Rick.
Okay. All right. I'll split the difference. And what won at this golf course a few weeks ago?
8.
Yeah, but they only played the course 3 times.
Yes. Take 9?
Yeah, I'll take 9.
So we've got 6, 9, 12. I'll take $1, Bob. Just $1.
There you go. You'll go low.
Yeah, I like my chances. Last thing on this, Patrick, because I tried to bait you into it and you avoided it, and I'm going to circle back.
Naturally.
Like, how concerned am I about Xander Schauffele not playing this golf course, either of the 2 opportunities that he's had? The rib, I believe it's cartilage, still keeping him out of play. To call 2025 a slow start for Xander, I think would be very generous considering the lack of golf he's played.
It's not great. I'm trying to look up the exact verbiage of the injury, but I'm on an AI sports website right now, which is not good. Sportskeeda. That's AI, right?
Dude, I think
CBS
everything's AI now. Oh, good.
It's definitely not a positive development for Xander Schauffele to be missing a tournament that he likes not once, but twice. And the rib, it was right rib, correct? So more on that loading side?
Yeah, soft tissue.
It kind of just seems like something you got to wait out, right? There's nothing you can do but rest. So, not great.
You wonder if he's rested.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's just being very cautious with it.
Well, one other thing on the concern for the season, like, we're only going to August. This is January to August. Now you're talking about, I mean, is it going to be March to August? It's not a very long time. If you come back with any sort of rust, I'm sure that he will find his way into the top 70, but and he doesn't have to worry about keeping his card because he's a major champion and a winner. But that gets tight really quick, right? Your schedule gets limited very quickly, and you go right into majors you go right into the Players' Championship without an event under your belt. It's a slow start that could lead to a even slower start.
That is a really, really good point, because those intercostals and pec muscles and those sorts of things, you can't heal them. They just got to rest. So in other words, practice time is curtailed, and each week that he misses not practicing, that's another week to get back to, mid-season form, to use a cliche. And let's just look at the foremost player in the world right now, who's not the foremost player in the world, in Scotty Scheffler. He's hurting Greg's predictions in the worst way, because you can see there's a little rust going on here. I mean,
he's killing me.
Yeah, playing in perfect conditions there in Phoenix, missing balls in water and stuff like that. That's
41 on the back, Mark.
Gosh, I know, golly. And that's the thing, that's not, the swing's not completely there, but it feels different in tournaments to what it does at home in practice. And it's just a different thing. And you get into this sort of tournament form, if you will, where you understand how your body's moving and you get the timing and you can control the heart rate and the emotions and such. And yeah, each week that you're not playing is one more week and a little bit removed from it. So Greg's point is well founded. It's a short, quick season. And for guys like Xander, they play in all these big events. So they got condensed windows of time that they play in, and they got a rest. So, shucks, do we see Xander Schauffele perhaps at the John Deere Classic? I know it's only February, but the time goes fast.
Wow.
Yeah, an added bonus could be him like playing the Valspar or something again, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We will see. Wait and see on Xander Schauffele. We've got the wagers to get to. We've got to put some green on the grid. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
The clock never stops. Relive the greatest moments with uninterrupted highlights and more.
It's Gareth Bale. Ronaldo. Wonderful goal.
On the UEFA Champions League channel. Streaming free.
We are back and we are feeling sharp. We are feeling refreshed. We have gone through every possible wager to come up with our best bets for this week. If you have not seen this segment before, it's a matchup. It's a finishing position. It's two separate outrights and then one more bonus bet for all, or at least most of, the marbles. Josh, hit me with the grid. Thank you very much. Matchups, finishing positions, outrights, and Patrick, there is not a TGL event this week, but there are 3 next week. So I assume you are doing your early research.
Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see.
Okay.
About that. Actually, I might be in the area. Maybe I'll go live. Maybe I'll.
Whoa!
If any TGL exec is listening to this, I'm the only man not on the payroll. So comp some tickets for your boy. I don't want to go in the media capacity. Comp the tickets.
Oh, you just want straight tickets.
Maybe I'll bring my dad, and he'll scoff at it.
He wants to be one of those beer swillers in the audience making a big noise, not some.
I want to be rubbing elbows with Serena Williams and Ohanian LAGC royalty. So
his pitch was, "My dad will scoff at it." So I'm sure you'll be getting a phone call.
Yeah.
Shortly.
How can you leave this guy out?
How could you leave
I'm thinking they will. Yeah.
This guy out. Patrick, while you're on a heater, why don't you hit us with your matchup for this week?
But we're trying to, change perspectives here, Rick. You gotta bring them to the event so they change their minds. I'm going with Low Nordic, Victor Hovland plus 240 over Ludwig and Rasmus. I am scared of this one. Not gonna lie. Didn't like it on paper, but I think Ludwig's a little overpriced. I know he played well here, but as Mark alluded to, on the wrong golf course last time, shot 9 under there, and then was like a zillion over. Sick at Pebble Beach WD, but the driver isn't where the driver normally is for Ludwig, so it could pose some problems. Rasmus, I think, could have a great week. Do not get me wrong. He has the twin telepathy going with Nikolai, who played well here a couple years ago, playing some great golf. But I'm rolling with Hovland, strictly a talent play. Showed me enough at Pebble Beach. I think he sneaks inside the top 10, and that'll do it.
All right. Well, he probably doesn't. Yes. Well, he might need a top 10. That's kind of the thing with these.
They're good. They're good players.
They are good players. That is plus 240 if Victor can get the job done over Ludwig and Rasmus. Mark, please entertain us all with your matchup, please.
I'm making notes here, listening to the stuff that's coming out of Patrick's mouth. I'm going to get on your bet then very shortly. Give me a bit. I didn't find anything that was worthwhile as I looked through all of these head-to-head matchups. And you know me, I hate to bet when I see a minus in front of the line, but it's just time for Patrick Cantlay to find some form. I feel like he's percolating. Everything's there. He normally plays well on the West Coast. Nothing's really hit just yet. But there's been signs of it, when I watched him in practice, when I'm seeing him on the course. So I feel like in Southern California, maybe a bit of trying to do something for his hometown area in Los Angeles. Cantlay minus 115 over the Englishman, Fairway Jesus.
There you go. I'm going Shane Lowry plus 180 over Finau and Pendrith. I don't think Finau is in very good form at all. I'm a little bit nervous about Taylor Pendrith, but the way that Shane Lowry has played, the way that he got a little bit unlucky at the Farmers, I think that there are some demons to exercise, and there's a lot of juice to squeeze out of Shane Lowry's game. Greg, you just went straight to the top of the board. You are not even messing around right now.
This is one that I'm very nervous about, kind of like Patrick, although I feel better about it than Patrick's. Okay.
Well, mine's double the price.
Yeah, good point. But I got Rory McIlroy. He has to beat one player. and we get plus 125 on it. Now, that player is Scotty Scheffler. Okay, so that's a little bit of an issue and why I feel a little concerned about it. I love Rory's record here. He's played here 4 times. 1 in the U.S. Open, 3 Farmers Insurance Opens. That'll be his first Genesis here, but everything's inside the top 16. He's got 3 top 10s, 2 top 5s. His record here is very good. And obviously we saw at Pebble Beach, his game is in very good form. Scotty Scheffler, I don't think this is the best golf course for him. And I think for the first time in 3 years, he's fighting something in his golf swing. I mean, it could be longer than that. Really, even before Scotty, was he ever fighting something with his swing? I don't know. Yeah, probably no. So I think he's got something he's really got to work on, and this is a tough place for that to happen. So even if Scotty was at his best, this would be a close call for me. I don't think Scotty's at his best. I think Rory is at his best. I think he'll beat him.
Rory McIlroy plus 125 over Scotty Scheffler. Finishing positions. Yes.
Wait a second. Let's please note the time, because when we were doing prognostications for 25, Greg would have bet Scotty Scheffler over Jesus.
Yeah.
Now we're doing the opposite
I might have.
Wow.
Gee whiz.
1 month later.
Yeah. Look, I do believe this is temporary. I think this is 1 week. I don't think the books have caught up to Scotty's struggles. He also was in second place last week before shooting 41 on the back 9.
Before hitting balls in water and stuff. Yeah.
He's broken. He'll never win again.
He's done. I'm done with Scotty. My prognostication for the year still is where it is. I just think it's a slower start than expected, thanks to, let's be honest, ravioli.
I was trying to remember what Patrick's since Mark brought up Jesus and Scotty Scheffler punctured his hand on Christmas. I was trying to remember what the
stigmata.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to remember what the Patrick tweet was.
I had some Catholics in my DMs not too happy about that.
Yeah.
Take this wine and drink from it.
I'm like, well, I'm one of you guys, fellas.
I'm just out here tweeting funny stuff. I don't know. Finishing positions. We've got a top 10, a top 20, and 2 top 30s. Let's start with one of those. Patrick, your top 30. Look at this name. Hasn't made the card in quite some time.
Yeah, I know Mark has a soft spot for him. He was on
Big
his
spot. Yeah.
Was it Arnold Palmer team?
Yeah, he's a star.
Yep.
Kevin, he's a star.
Yeah, great guy. Played great in Phoenix. Top 20 there. Iron plays red hot to start the year right now. And I didn't realize how long he is too. Yeah, very long off the tee, which I like this week. The iron play looks great. And 2024 Farmers T6. So I think top 30 in a limited field at plus 150. I will sign up for the Sanderson Farms champion to do just that this week at the Genesis Invitational.
Ooh, okay. Now I'm going to take us right to the other top 30. This one is at even money. Mark, what did you find for this week?
There were a few top 30s that caught my eye. Thomas Dietrich minus 125. The guy's playing great. He's played good at this golf course before. I mean, last week he was unstoppable. Sam Stevens, runner-up at this golf course just a few weeks ago. He's plus 100 for a top 30. Daniel Berger is plus 100 for a top 30. Berger's found a groove, and I talked with him on Saturday and Sunday. He's feeling good about himself, but here's my thing. The winner at this golf course 3 weeks ago, I lose track of time, Harris English, a top 30, you're getting 10 to 1. You're getting plus 100, right? Is that no? It's even money.
Even money.
Yeah, even money. I can't look away from Harris English finishing in the top 30. I think there's no guarantees in golf, but if there was, this would be as close to one as what I think you could possibly find. He's got a game built for the place, the way he drives it, the patience that he has. He's never flustered about anything, because I feel like Torrey Pines, with certain sort of respect, you can toss some of the statistics out because it's just a mental grind. And Harris is as present as anybody in the game. So Harris English top 30, I'm very happy with that one.
So that's you top 30, English top 30. I went closer to the top of the board, top 10, Sepp Straka 3-1. Greg and I spent a lot of time talking about Sepp Straka not only on Monday, but in 2025. And he just continues to play as well as he has for the last 6 months. So I am going with Sepp Straka here, and Patrick is raising his finger.
Question regarding Sepp Straka. Should the U.S. Ryder Cup team consider trading, I don't know, $4.8 million to Europe for Sepp Straka?
It's not my money, so yes.
Yep.
I think they should.
They have to find a way, I think, because I know he's Austrian, European, but he could pull a Sabatini, I feel like.
He's American American as apple pie, Patrick.
Oh man, he grew up in Valdosta, Georgia, for Pete's sake.
I know.
He loves Diet Coke, and
we just need a third party to come in and say, where is this man from?
Right. Listen to his southern drawl, and he's drinking Diet Coke.
I'm starting the research process on that right now.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Top 30, 3-1. Greg, a man who has gotten to play his favorite golf courses routinely over the last month is your top 20.
That is Jason Day. Hopefully we don't have a sweatsuit this week, because I don't think that's going to handle the water very well. But I think Jason's game can handle this golf course. He's proven that time and time again in the past. Tied 32nd at the Farmers, tied 13th at Pebble. You get a crack at three chances on your two favorite venues of the year. There's got to be a top 10 in there somewhere. So I think Jason Day is going to perform really well. We're still seeing a phenomenal performance in his iron play, which is why I've liked him the past couple of weeks, because he's hitting it really well, driving it well. And he really struggled at the Farmers with his putting. We talked about this yesterday too, Rick. He answered the bell, lost 5.7 strokes in just 3 rounds at Pebble Beach, gained 2.39 in 3 rounds at Pebble Beach. I'm sorry, the first one. He lost all those strokes at Torrey on the South course. I think his putting's back, and I don't think he's going to putt that poorly again. So I like him for a top 20 this week.
Ding, ding, ding. Ring the bell for Jason Day. 2 separate outrights, and there is quite the range here, as short as 7-1, as long as 70-1. Greg, I'm going to give you the first crack here. We're going to snake it. Fire away on your 2 outrights.
I like Shane Lowry and at 45-1 and Cam Davis at 70-1. Staying away from the top of the board this week. I just don't feel like there's a lock there. I like Shane Lowry in bad weather. I love the way that he's hit the ball. I think he performed a lot better when he missed the cut at the Farmers Insurance Open last time than the result would say. Obviously kind of showed that at Pebble Beach the very next week. So I think Shane Lowry's in a great place. Checks all the boxes for me at Torrey Pines. Cam Davis is a guy that has made some really big improvements from last year to this year. And now we get on a big golf course. He has plenty of distance. He's putting a lot better. His short game is a lot better. His iron play is a lot better. He's really gotten better across the board, with the exception of his driving, which I think he can. I think he can handle. I think he has what it takes off the tee to handle Torrey Pines. So why not throw a sprinkle on him at 70-1?
Speaking of handling Torrey Pines, as Greg mentioned, all the things about Jason Day, he also made my card this time for the outrights, 45-1 for Jay Day and 25-1 on Ludwig Oberg. There is some unfinished business around here when you drive it as long and as straight as he does. We saw what he's capable of doing over the first 2 days before illness set in the last time we were at this venue, but hopefully happy, healthy, and ready to rock and roll this time around. Patrick, I'm looking at a couple of savvy veterans on your card here. One playing at Torrey Pines, the other playing at the Grange in Adelaide.
Yes, El Nino, Sergio Garcia, 26-1. Doesn't have a great history here, but I was looking at when this event typically takes place. It's right after the Masters. No longer the case. So I think that's good for Sergio. He's playing some really good golf, flying high, post PGA invite, 26-1. Sign me up. And then I'm pot committed on the captain, and that is Keegan Bradley. 70-1. I have bet him every time he has played after the Century. and I'm going to continue to bet him until he wins, or I run out of fake money from Josh.
I think if he wins this week, you'll be even on him, right?
Just
70?
about.
Yeah.
Maybe might still owe some people some funds.
That's like when Tony Finau finally won, and nobody even got even on Tony Finau. It's like, great. Thank you. Mark, round this out here. 2 winners, please.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't get to talk with you guys after Pebble Beach when I got to follow Rory McIlroy on Saturday afternoon in that bad weather. And I'm still in awe of the way he played. In some tough conditions, the way he moved the speed of the golf ball around, the way he changed trajectory, just complete command. It's as good as I've seen him play since the 64. I watched him shoot in the final round at the Arnold Palmer event to win. And I just don't see then the way he accelerated on Sunday to the victory. I don't see that going away because from what I understand in the brief conversations I've had with him, he knows exactly where the golf swing is. He knows exactly what he has to do. And now all of a sudden he's discovered this halfway off speed shot. So now he doesn't put the ball up in the air as much. And so it's kind of less averse to condition. So a guy with high confidence, the way he's swinging it away, the way he's swinging it is, and the way he drives the golf ball, a golf course where Greg points out he's got a good history. I think McIlroy, I can't look away. And then Sung J.M., it's time now, man. He's playing so solidly all the time. He's got a game that you would think would really excel here. He's sneaky long, but more than that, he's accurate. So he's played well around this golf course too. At 35-1, I'm pretty high on Sung J.M.
It's time now. Sung J.M. needs to win more frequently than he does. That's Sung J. It's Rory. It's Lowry, Cam Davis, Keegan Bradley, Jason Day, Ludwig Oberg. And if you're heading to the board for Adelaide, Sergio Garcia. One final wager for us, and I'm just going to jump right in here because everything that Mark said about Rory McIlroy is music to my ears. I took Rory or Ludwig to win this golf tournament at 5.5-1. So basically I get both of those two for better odds than Scotty Scheffler. These probably aren't the best wagers, but I like them for the best bet purposes of this show. Greg, another name we talked about on Monday. You are sticking to the plan.
Yep, I promised this, teased it yesterday. Gary Woodland here at Torrey Pines has made a lot of cuts, played a lot of golf, and a lot of finishes between 15th and 30th place. So I like Gary Woodland for a top 30. I love the way he's hitting the ball. He's got 3 straight top 25s coming into this event. 5 out of the last 7 have been inside the top 25 for Gary Woodland. So I like his chances of performing well this week. I like him for a top 30 at plus 130.
So we've got 2 down, 2 to go. And I'm proud to announce that both Mark and Patrick are staying very much on brand here. Mark, what is your wager for this week?
First off, I'm disappointed to see that my bet didn't hit last week. I was very confident in Lee Hodges in the top 40, but I see final round of 72 is not helping very much. Anyhow, right. Top Nordic. Okay. It's Victor, who's been bet on. It's Ludwig, who I've heard you guys have bet on as well. I watched Rasmus Højgaard play alongside Rory Saturday at Pebble. And look, I knew he was good. I'd watched him some in Europe. Then I made it a point every day last week to go and watch his warm-up on the range in Phoenix. It is freaking biblical the way this guy hits the golf ball. He hits it up with Rory off the tee, not even swinging hard. He hits it so squarely. And then he's got this Ernie Els style rhythm that I'm flabbergasted. So right after this podcast, I'm going to put up a live video that I got of him hitting balls on the range, because I believe that Rasmus Højgaard is going to be the top Nordic. And watch the space. Watch him this year. I think Nikolai's kind of a grinder, but just naturally gifted. This guy is, he jumped off the page to me. And I was like, he's got to be 2 guys. One who's kind of struggling with his golf swing in Vic, and the other guy who's, played well in one round and otherwise battled illness. So let's go Rasmus. He played well last week. I'm looking for him to play well again.
That's a good pick, Mark.
Plus 160, and Patrick gives it the hashtag good pick seal of approval. Patrick, round us out for our wagers this week.
It's the correct pick that Mark had, 100%.
Just give him the money now.
I'm putting up that video right now. It's coming.
It's very much the pick that you should listen to. I also had maybe a question mark about Scotty Scheffler this week. Not a question mark, more a some uneasiness. I like Rory a lot this week too. I think he has a real chance of winning. And because of that, I had to go to a different favorite with Jon Rahm, 6.5 to 1 to win at the Grange. I got a nice little newsletter in my inbox this morning from one Mr. Run Good or Scoop Good, formerly known as.
That's
and
right.
he pretty much said Jon Rahm still very good at golf. And so that's all I really need to know about this guy. I think he's going to get on the board here and win in Australia at 6.5 to 1.
Where else are you going to get that groundbreaking analysis that Jon Rahm is
best in league history? That was
good
a good one.
at golf. He is the best player in league history by a mile.
And he's like LeBron at St. Vincent St. Mary.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Where else are you getting this analysis?
Hysterical.
Rahm's always been more of a DeJuan Blair comp to me, but I could see the LeBron high school comp too.
Yeah, well, I'm working on my comps. I don't have the comp game that you guys have. That is Rory or Ludwig to win. It's Jon Rahm to win. That's the Live Golf event. Gary Woodland to finish inside the top 30 at the Genesis, and of course Rasmus Højgaard to beat out both Victor Hovland and Ludwig Åberg to be your top Nordic. Those are the bonus bets for this week. I'm at the end of the outline, gents. That's it. This is where I just open it up and say, anything else?
Yeah, I'm about to upload that video. It's coming.
Mark is uploading a video. Going once.
I'll be watching the video.
Greg is going to watch it. Going twice. Patrick.
I've really got nothing. Out
You're
before
usually
6 p.m.
You're usually the one that has something.
Yeah, I don't know. Something's off today, I think.
Would you get the flu?
Yeah, I got I got whatever Sepp and Ludwig had, I think.
It's no TGL. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I'm
here
excited
you
to
are.
have my weeknight.
here you are playing through that pain. And we appreciate it. We also appreciate you, producer Josh, who does all the hard work behind the scenes. That right there, Mark Immelman. You can find him at Mark_Immelman. Greg DuCharme at The Real GFD. And that's Patrick McDonald at P McDonald CBS. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We will catch you next time.